Hello, Eagles. You are flipping in fifth with me, Mrs. G. Today we're going to be talking about Topic 10, Lessons 6 and 7. And today's learning target is, I can add and subtract mixed numbers by drawing pictures and writing equations. Here's some vocabulary today. We've already gone over the least common denominator, but I want you to write it again because it's really important. That's creating equivalent fractions using common denominators so you can add or subtract them. The next one we're going to use tonight is a bar diagram. That's drawing a picture to help you solve a more complex word problem. And here we have an example of a bar diagram. This shows us 5 plus D equals 9. And then an equation, well, an equation says that two things are equal, and it may contain a variable. So in this instance, the equation for this bar diagram is 5 plus D equals 9, just like I told you before. 5 plus D equals 9. Go ahead and pause the video and make sure you write all of these things in, including the examples, because that's going to help you on tonight's practice problems. Okay, coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's our problem of the day. Roman has a dog walking business. He walks Spike 1 1/10 miles, and he walks Fluffy 2 3/4 miles. Then he walks home. He walks a total of 4 9/10 miles. So how many miles is his walk home? Wow, this could be a hard one. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to highlight the question that we're being asked. And here the question is, how many miles is his walk home? That's very, very important. So now we need to underline or outline or highlight, whatever works for you, the important information. So in this case, we know he walks a Spike 1 1/10 miles, he walks Fluffy 2 3/4 miles, and he walks a total of 4 9/10 miles. Again, this is a difficult problem, so the best way to solve a complex problem like this is to draw a picture. Now, I'm going to use a bar diagram, but if you want to draw a regular picture, if that helps you better, that's fine. But just be sure that you label it similar to the bar diagram. So here is a bar diagram that represents this story problem. It shows us here that he walks Spike 1 1/10 miles. Then it shows us he continues and he walks Fluffy another 2 3/4 miles. And then D is him walking home. So then up here we draw a line and shows us that this whole thing, all of these things added together will equal 4 9/10 because he walks a total of 4 9/10. So this bar diagram is going to help us write an equation so we can end up solving this problem. I want you to go ahead and pause the video and try to write the equation on your own and come back and see if it matches mine. Okay, coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you write 1 1/10 plus 2 3/4 plus D equals 4 9/10? Well, that's exactly the equation you should have written here, because again, it shows us what is in these three boxes is equal to the total here. So now that we have our equation, we can go through and solve this problem. First, we want to make sure that we add parentheses, because the first thing we're going to be doing is adding these two together, because we can't add D yet. So here I just rewrote it. And the first thing we need to do is we have a 4 as a denominator here and a 10 as a denominator here. So we had to, before we could add mixed numbers, we had to find a common denominator. So I knew our common denominator here was going to be 20. And so remember, whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. So in this case, the 4, to change it to 20, we multiplied it by 5. So we do the same thing for the numerator. 3 times 5 is 15. Then over here, we multiplied the 10 by 2 to get 20. So we multiply the 1 by 2, and the 2 is the new numerator. So now we're just going to bring our whole numbers down, and we have 1 2/20 plus 2 15/20. but it's still in the parentheses because we haven't completely solved it yet. And we're going to bring the rest of our answer down. Plus D equals 4 9/10. So now we need to solve what's in the parentheses first. So we know that 1 plus 2 is 3, and 2 plus 15 gives us 17/20. So we have now solved what's inside the parentheses, so we can get rid of those, but we need to bring the rest of the problem down. So it's 3 17/20 plus D equals 4 9/10. Now, here we're going to do something a little bit different. We have no idea what D is. So instead, we're going to do the inverse operation of adding here in order to figure that out. So we're going to take 4 9/10, which is the total that he walked. And we are going to subtract 3 17/20 because this is the amount that he walked Fluffy and Spike together. And we're going to know that that equals D, which is what we're solving for. Again, we do not have like denominators, so we have to change the 10 to a 20, and we multiplied it by 2, so we're going to multiply the numerator by 2 as well. Bring down our whole numbers, and now we're going to solve. So we know that 4 minus 3 is 1, and 18/20 minus 17/20 is 1/20. So his walk home was 1 1/20 of a mile. Okay, so now we have some problems for you to try. Now these are a little more complex than we're used to doing, so I want you to really pay attention and make sure that you write down the problems correctly. This first one, make sure you do the parentheses as well because that is going to help you know what you add first or subtract first. In this case, we have 12 1/6 minus 6 5/12, that's in parentheses, plus 1 1/4. Number 2, in parentheses, we have 7 2/3 plus 3 4/5. Then we're going to close the parentheses and add 1 4/15. And then over here, we're solving and simplifying for this problem. 6 1/4 plus, and in parentheses, 2 1/3 minus 1 5/8, close parentheses. Now for numbers 4 and 5, you're going to use this chart over here, and I want you to draw a picture, write an equation, and solve. So remember, go back to the beginning of the problem and rewatch the example if you're still confused about how to do that. So this number 4 says if Jesse hikes to the campsite, which we know is 2 3/4 miles, the trail, which is 1 7/8 miles, and the lake, which is 1 1/3 miles, how far will she hike? And number 5, if Owen only hikes to the campsites, which are only 2 3/4 miles, well, how much further will Jesse hike than Owen? So you're going to be using your answer in number 4 to solve number 5. Go ahead and pause the video and come back when you have your answers. Coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, here are all of your answers. It should match up something similar to mine. Remember, the letters that you use for your variables doesn't matter. You could have S or X or whatever you want to have. But in this case, I chose J. So these are your answers. You can go ahead and pause the video again so you can go through and check and see how many you got right. Okay, go ahead and count up how many problems you got right out of 5 and write that down. Remember, be honest, it isn't for a grade. We know that these are a lot tougher than what we're used to, but we think you can persevere and figure them out. Honestly, fill out that self-reflection. Could you teach a friend, or are you still confused? Hey, if you're still confused, you can go back and watch this video again before you come to class tomorrow. And fill in the space for any questions you still have. Hope you have a great night. We look forward to working with you more later. Bye-bye.